Hey guys, sorry that I haven't posted anything in almost a month. I kind of wasn't expecting that to happen. Um, but I should get a thing or two out of the way. I've been, dealing with a couple of real life obligations and such. Um, on the one hand, I've got, Keyframe to look out for, since she's living with Will, and every now and then she has a bit of a panic attack and such, so I'm trying to, make her comfortable and such. While that's happening, I'm in the process of looking for a job, and the job hunting has been putting me into some sort of unusual depression and such. Like, normally, I would have naturally gone depressed because of how long I've been, looking for a job, but it isn't even that. I don't know. I've been dealing with some sort of, depression for the longest time now, and it's been kicking in a little too hard this month. But it's kind of wearing down now. And the other thing I should be honest with you all about is that, even before Season 5, during the last stretch of Season 4, I was under a bit of a burnout, and most of this was because of me being very frustrated and very angry at the things I didn't like in some episodes, and it's very, very unhealthy. And that kind of leads to the process of what I'm doing with Appaloosa's Most Wanted. The process in that one has taken a very long time, but a part of that is because, as some of you may know, I've shown a bit of a bitter impression towards Appaloosa's Most Wanted in my review of Tanks for the Memories. The episode isn't completely bad, I just happen to not like a couple of things that, to me, hurts the episode a lot. But there's a lot of positive things to say. Both me and Voice of Reason are going over a lot of the positive elements and not just, dwelling on the things we didn't like. So it's more of a balanced perspective than it is a negative one. Now, there are a couple of things I am going to get a little upset about and such, but it's going to be played in the roles of where I'm trying to keep my character intact before he gets carried away or something. And it's mostly done in comedic effect, so at the very least I'm trying to make the review very funny, or at least I'm trying to. And so far I've shown a couple of my friends, my close friends, my work, and they've had a good laugh or two, so I hope that the review comes out pretty well. So it's also taken a really long time, not just because of how I'm going to, make this video and execute it in such a way where I can at least get a laugh from you guys, but also, this is the longest Season 5 review that I've had so far. Most other reviews were 7 or 8 minutes. This one is 12 minutes. So, needless to say, both me and Voice of Reason had a lot to go over. In addition, I've been trying to balance out my time to work on a couple of scripts for future episode reviews, and a majority of which are collab reviews. So far, a good chunk of them is done. There's only one left over. The collab reviews are me and Toon Critic on The Lost Treasure of Griffinstone, Postscript, Rosie C. Evers, I hope I'm saying that right, and I are going to be talking about Slice of Life, and me and Caps Lock are going to be talking about Princess Spike. There's probably another collab somewhere, I don't know, but the collab works take a longer time than a general review itself. I haven't even got around to finishing the script for Party Poop, nor have I started on the other two episodes in which I'm going to give my first impressions on, Amending Fences and Do Princesses Dream of Magic Sheep. Ooh, that's a mouthful. But I'm going to be talking about those, how I feel about Season 5 now that we're on a hiatus. Thank God, it's going to give me time to catch up. And Friendship Games, the next Equestria Girls movie. So, I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm just going to get straight to, I think I covered everything else, so I'm just going to get straight to Amending Fences. And my feelings on the episode: this episode has received a bit of a positive reception, a very positive reception. A good chunk of people really love the episode, and it's for very personal reasons. Now, in case you haven't noticed, I love it when episodes manage to tackle on personal subject matters. Kind of how I felt about Hurricane Fluttershy when I was able to connect with the conflict that Fluttershy was dealing with in terms of child phobias, and how it can get in the way of what you need to do to contribute to, benefit everybody else when you're in the middle of, let's say, big projects such as making a huge tornado that would launch a hose of water to Cloudsdale. And, the list goes on. Amending Fences is one of those kind of episodes. I really love it when the show does that. I'm not expecting the show to do that all the time, because it would have been really, really selfish if I did so. But I'm glad that they did that. And not only is it a very good episode that tackles on a good subject matter, personal subject matter about how Twilight must, make up for the lost cause that she did with Moondancer, it's nice to give us a good callback all the way back to the pilot episode of Season 1. That's a huge stretch. And M.A. Larson pulled this off very well. And I gotta, I have to applaud to him for that. That's quite impressive. That's really all I'm going to say so far, because I don't want to talk too much about one episode. There's a couple of things that I also want to cover up. The other is Do Princesses Dream of Magic Sheep? And it's a bit of a silly, long-ass title. It's supposed to be a reference to something, I don't know. There have been many titles that were making references before, like Sleepless in Ponyville was supposed to be Sleepless in Seattle. What is that episode called? Magical Mystery Cure was referencing Magical Mystery Tour from the Beatles. So my feelings on Do Princesses Dream of Magic Sheep, I had a very, very strong first impression. Like, I really loved it. However, it is noticeable that there's a lot of flaws every time we watch it more and more. Some people have been a little, not negative, but a little more bitter the more they watched it. And part of that is because of the actual flaws that are kicking in. Now, I'm pretty much all over the place when it comes to giving my impressions on something and what comes to me the most. What I try to look at the most is the theming, the moral, how the characters were portrayed, and how the story was handled. The story, I'm not going to lie, the story was clunky in its pacing. The pacing was just everywhere. Some of it was a little bit rushed. Like, right at the last portion where Luna was dealing with how she was not able to forgive herself. But that brings a very good moral. And personally, I think it's handled a little bit better than, let's say, Trixie immediately apologizing in Magic Duel at the end of the episode. The reason being is not because of Luna bias or anything like that, but because throughout the series, we understood how regretful Luna was when she was turned back into herself from Nightmare Moon. And when it was carried on throughout the entire series, every one of us knew that she was once a bad guy and she was turned into a good guy, but a part of her feels regretful. And this is something which, it would have been nice if the episode tackled on that and flew, early on and explained what her motivation was. And the rest of the main characters are saying, Luna, you have to learn to forgive yourself, and it's carried on throughout the rest of the episode. This way it would feel a lot more natural, but either or, I still liked the concept of what they did with Luna on her and the Tantabus, which was, that thing that comes out and attacks everyone's dreams. And that's the other thing, the theming. Dream sequences are a bit of a mixed bag to some people, but in this episode, I loved what they did. They made a lot of callbacks to many episodes like Power Ponies and a Dog and Pony Show, and Bats, and, there's a list of other episodes that I may be leaving out, but one of the biggest and funniest things in the episode was Big Mac transforming himself into Sailor Moon. I'm not a huge fan of Sailor Moon, but I understood the whole transformation thing, like everybody knows that whole sequence. But the episode embraced a lot of its dream sequence moments, and including many other characters who have their own little moments to shine on their little dream their dream transformations and such. It was very fun to watch on that part, and it had a good moral, like I said, on behalf of Luna's part. But like I said, it's got a couple of pacing issues, and there are a couple of other noticeable flaws every time I watch it, but even then, despite how flawed the episode gets, I still really love the episode. Like, I don't know if whether or not I would put it in my top 5 or anything like that. I'm putting together a countdown of what my favorite episodes were so far this season, as well as putting together episodes of what my favorites were on other episodes out there. But I don't know if whether or not I put this in the top 5 or not. I really, really want to put this really high, but it's very flawed and such, and it feels a little pressuring that I can't do that. But I still really enjoyed the episode. So that being said, Season 5 is on a break, and just to get this out of the way, I am so glad that they are on a break. I have a shit ton of episodes to catch up on. Now, I know that a lot of you are disappointed because, we don't get new ponies and such, but even then, you had, to be honest, I really love what Season 5 is doing so far. Yes, we're getting spoiled with a lot of things that we wanted to see and such, but you know what? I wasn't even expecting it. But even then, there's a couple of episodes that I really liked. I'm sure there's a lot of episodes that a lot of you may have liked and such. Spend some of your time, looking back at some of those episodes and appreciate them more. Because I think the staff is, stepping up their A game on this one. Yes, we've had episodes like Slice of Life where they were just dicking around and such, but it doesn't hurt to dick around all the time. In fact, people said that the staff was having a lot of fun in Season 4. Well, despite how harsh I was on Season 4, let them have their fun. And I will not be surprised if somebody gets on my case for what episodes I like or whatnot. In fact, some people have. Some people got on my case saying that they hated Tales from the Memories, but, different strokes for different folks. So, I really like what Season 5 is doing so far, and I am looking forward to seeing what is happening during the later half. And just to be clear, I did not look at any of the trailers, or not trailers, but the spoilers from San Diego Comic-Con of the second half of Season 5. And I chose not to because, again, I'm trying to avoid any spoilers, so that way I wouldn't have any high expectations. I would rather be surprised. And I think that's kind of what's going on here in Season 5. Because I've been reading some of the synopsis, not all of them, of Season 4, and my expectations were drastically different. But so far, I'm very optimistic of how Season 5 is coming out. And so far, it may become my favorite season. Let's just hope that the second half of the season doesn't get, too carried away or, let its guard down and such. But it won't be for a while. And until then, we have Friendship Games, which is the third Equestria Girls movie coming out. I've seen only one trailer, and I looked at the premise of it, and most of which is some kind of a gaming event that is happening at the school grounds of Canterlot High. And, by the way, to some of you asking me about Rainbow Rocks, yes, I have finally seen Rainbow Rocks. I did a hot sauce challenge of it a while back at BabsCon. You can go check it out from there, or I'll have to, link it in the description box for that one. And the movie was hyped up a little too much, but even then, I thought the movie was good. I thought it was better than the first movie. Now, as far as Friendship Games go, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to tackle on this one. I know that they have the alternative Twilight in the universe of the human world that, already had the Twilight human form, in contrast to Twilight from Equestria coming to Canterlot High. So, from the looks of it, it's going to be more of a friend competition of how she's alienated and how her actions are different among others and such. I don't know exactly. I only looked at, I glossed and glanced over one trailer, and I chose not to look too far into it because of the same reasons and such. A part of me felt like I was going to lose my shit because when I saw the trailer, I thought, are they doing something that I was expecting the Equestria games to do? Because you have characters and they're involved in the actual games instead of, giving us a Spike episode. Which I know I'm going to be getting comments, saying, you set your expectations too high and blah, blah, blah. But the only thing I can do is just wait until the movie comes out. When it's not going to be played in theaters anymore, from what I've heard, because they said that when Rainbow Rocks was released in only selected theaters, it didn't make that much profit. Well, if you release a movie that's only in selected theaters, guys, you're not going to get much of an audience because it's only so selective throughout the United States. I just want to point that out there. But for Friendship Games, it's going to be on television. I'll be checking it out whenever the time comes around. I'll take a look at it, and I'll see what I, give my feelings about it are. Give you my feelings and such. I'm running out of words. I can't English. Damn it. As for Rainbow Rocks, yes, I'm still going to review that movie. I don't know when, but I will get to it soon. I still have catching up to do with the rest of Season 5, the first half, that is. So, anyways, thank you all for watching, and again, I'm sorry that I haven't been up to date with the many, the many episodes that I haven't been up to date with, and, I haven't posted a video in almost a month and such, so, yeah. So, thank you for listening in, and stay tuned for Appaloosa's Most Wanted.